Lieutenant Arlen Drax had seen many impossible things during his 12 cycles patrolling the frontier worlds. He had witnessed plasma storms that could dissolve a starship's hull in seconds, dimensional rifts that led to nowhere and everywhere, simultaneously in species so alien their very existence defied the known laws of physics. But nothing had prepared him for what he saw in Sector 7G of the abandoned research station. The tactical scanner had detected a life signature, human, surprisingly, in what should have been a completely evacuated facility. The station had been abandoned 3 rotations ago when a containment breach released Karvoth predators into the ventilation systems. Karvoth were apex predators from a death world so hostile that even the Galactic Council had classified the entire planet as a no-approach zone. They were 4-legged nightmares with obsidian scales, retractable claws that could slice through, reinforced steel, and a hunting instinct so refined they could track prey across star systems by scent alone. A single adult Karvoth had once decimated an entire military outpost of 200 soldiers. The station had housed 3 breeding pairs. Drax's patrol team moved through the darkened corridors with weapons raised, their helmet displays painting the shadows in infrared and motion detection overlays. Every member of his 6-person squad was a veteran, hand-picked for their ability to remain calm under pressure. Yet he could feel the tension radiating from them like heat from a reactor core. The human signature was 2 levels below, in what had once been the xenobiology research lab. As they descended, Drax noticed something odd. The walls bore the distinctive claw marks of Karvoth, deep, parallel gouges that spoke of territorial marking. But there was no blood, no signs of feeding, no scattered remains. The predators had been here, but they hadn't been hunting. The lab doors hung open, torn from their hinges by something immensely strong. Drax signaled his team to hold position while he approached with his second-in-command. Through the doorway, emergency lighting cast everything in a dim red glow. And there, sitting cross-legged on the floor surrounded by overturned equipment and scattered data pads, was a human woman. She appeared to be in her late 20s by human standards, with dark hair pulled back in a practical braid and wearing a stained research uniform. But it wasn't the human that made Drax's blood freeze in his veins. It was what she held. Cradled in her arms, curled against her chest like they were the safest place in the universe, were 2 Karvoth cubs. Their obsidian scales gleamed softly in the emergency lighting, and their small chests rose and fell with the rhythm of deep sleep. One of them made a small chirping sound, impossibly delicate from a species known only for their terrifying screams, and nestled closer to the human's warmth. "Contact freeze!" Drax's second snapped, bringing her weapon up. The rest of the patrol responded instantly, raising their plasma rifles. Red targeting dots danced across the human's torso. The woman, Sarah, according to the ID badge still clipped to her uniform, looked up slowly. Her eyes were tired but calm, showing none of the panic Drax expected from someone staring down 6 weapons. She held up one hand in a placating gesture while keeping the other arm securely around the sleeping cubs. "Please," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Don't. They're sleeping." "Step away from the predators," Drax ordered, though even to his own ears the command sounded absurd. Step away. She was holding them like infants. "I can't do that, Lieutenant," Sarah replied, and there was steel beneath the gentleness of her tone. "Their mother is dead, killed by the station's automated defense systems during the breach. These 2 are barely 4 weeks old. They'll die without care." "Those are Karvoth," his second hissed. "They're weapons with teeth. In 6 months, they'll be large enough to tear us apart." "In 6 months, they'll be whatever we teach them to be," Sarah countered. She shifted slightly, adjusting her grip so both cubs were more secure. One of them yawned, revealing rows of needle-sharp teeth before tucking its head back under her chin. "Every species in the galaxy underestimates humans for one reason or another. You know what our real strength is?" Drax didn't lower his weapon, but he was listening. "Adaptability," he said. It was the standard answer, the one taught in every xenobiology course. Close. Sarah smiled, but it was sad and tired. "It's compassion." It's the ability to look at something the entire universe calls a monster and see an orphan instead. It's the capacity to care for something that might one day hurt us because that's what intelligent beings do. She's insane, his second muttered. The isolation got to her. But Drax was thinking of his own species' history. The Draven had been warriors once, conquerors who believed strength was the only virtue. Then they had encountered humanity during the Coalition Wars. Humans had defeated them not through superior firepower, though they had that, but through something the Draven couldn't comprehend at the time. After victory, humans had helped rebuild Draven worlds. They had shared technology, offered medical aid, extended hands in friendship to a species that had tried to annihilate them. It had made no tactical sense. It had defied every strategic doctrine. It had changed everything. "Lower your weapons," Drax commanded. "Sir?" His second shock was evident even through her helmet speaker. "I said lower them." Drax holstered his own sidearm and took a step forward, hands visible and empty. "Sarah, we're evacuating this station. Will you come with us?" She looked down at the sleeping cubs, then back at him. "They come too. Both of them. No cages, no labs, no weapons research. They're children, not assets." Drax thought about the Council's response, about the protocols, about the 1,000 regulations this would violate. Then he thought about why he had joined the patrol in the first place, about the human commander who had pulled him from a crashed shuttle on a hostile world, who had carried him 3 kilometers through enemy territory because we don't leave people behind. "They come too," he agreed. As his team reluctantly lowered their weapons, Sarah stood carefully, keeping the cubs secure against her chest. One of them stirred, opened eyes that glowed like molten amber in the dim light, looked directly at Drax, and yawned before going back to sleep. In that moment, Lieutenant Arlen Drax understood something profound. The galaxy was full of species that had evolved to survive through strength, through venom, through intelligence or camouflage or sheer reproductive numbers. But only one species had evolved to survive through the radical act of caring for things that weren't like them. Only humans looked at the universe's teeth and claws and said, "Come here, you look like you need a hug." It was terrifying. It was beautiful. It was so utterly human that Drax found himself shaking his head in wonder. "Let's go home," he said. And as they walked through the dark corridors toward the light of the docking bay, Drax couldn't help but notice that the larger Karvoth tracks, the adult ones, led away from the lab and toward the station's exit ports. The mother hadn't been killed by defense systems. She had died protecting her cubs from the automated guns, giving Sarah time to reach them. Maybe, Drax thought, the mother had understood something too. Maybe she had recognized in this strange, soft human the one thing her species never had, someone willing to care.